Yeah, and a coup de geese sandwich like you get them in the OUD.
Hi, this is Jim Islip with MSU Extension, and this is What's Up at UPREC on June 10, 2021. Today we'll visit with James Dedecker, Director of the MSU Upper Peninsula Research and Extension Center in Chatham, Michigan, about the new deer exclusion fence that's going up at the North Farm. Some of this video was shot on May 21st when this fence corner was being constructed. James' comments were captured today on June 10th.
So here we are checking out the construction of our deer exclusion fence at the UPREC North Farm. This will be a 10-foot exclusion fence with high tensile wire running every 6 inches up the post that you see laid here. A couple of unique aspects about this fence. Being an organic farm, we had to look carefully at the materials that we're going to be using for constructing this fence. We knew that we wanted to use wood posts and we wanted something that was going to last, and so either treated wood or cedar were kind of the options to have something that would last. Cedar posts certainly would be allowed even on a certified organic farm, but we felt like some sort of chemical treatment might be even better. So we worked with our certifier, who is MOSA, the Midwest Organic Services Agency, and they suggested that we look for some MCA treated lumber. So MCA stands for micronized copper azole, and that material is known to leach less chemical into the soil. The other thing is that this fence is distanced, there's a buffer between the fence and our production areas of sod here, and so that was another reason why MOSA felt okay with allowing us to use that MCA treatment on this wood. Stepping back a little bit to think about kind of the rationale as far as why we needed a deer fence. When you look at deer densities in the Upper Peninsula, they're actually quite low relative to other parts of Michigan. So we don't have all that many deer here in Chatham. The problem is, here at the North Farm, we're growing specialty crops that can be highly susceptible and attractive to deer, and we're also conducting research. And so really it only takes 1 or 2 deer a couple of nights to cause us a lot of headaches for the work that we're doing, growing these specialty crops on a small scale and oftentimes in a research context where we really want to have good, accurate data coming off of those plots. We looked at a few different fence designs. Luckily, we had the resource of Jim Islip's publication from his master's work that looked at different fence designs and what farmers thought about them and their efficacy and costs and so forth. And we considered a few different options. We decided to go with the high tensile straight exclusion fence for a couple of reasons. One is the fact that we wanted straight up exclusion. We wanted to be as confident as we could be that this fence would be nearly 100% effective at excluding deer. So that's one reason we went with this design. Another reason is that the standard really in the industry right now for deer exclusion is either woven or welded wire, where you would have both horizontal and vertical strands of wire that would be connected together in a mesh. That is a really effective material for excluding deer. The problem is we get a lot of snow here in Chatham. And in our experience with that kind of welded or woven wire, it catches the snow better than high tensile straight wire does. And we were concerned that that fence might come down in a couple of winters if we get good snowfall here. So the high tensile holds less ice and snow. The other thing that we're doing to deal with snow loaders, we're using pin lock insulators. And a pin lock insulator goes up against the post, and it's got a slot for the wire to lay in and then a pin that sticks down in there. And that pin can be removed and you can actually take the wires out. And so one thing that we've considered is perhaps in the winter, if we're looking at a lot of snow, we might actually drop the lower wires down that would be under the snow, lay them loose on the ground, let the winter occur, and then pick them back up in the spring when we're ready to start planting again. Other types of fence that growers in the Upper Peninsula might consider for deer management, you can use temporary fencing. In the past, prior to building this fence, we've used 3-dimensional temporary fencing where we put up 2 runs of fencing parallel, and that only provides some physical barrier, but also a psychological barrier for the deer because they have trouble navigating that depth of 2 runs of fence. As prey animals with the eyes on the side of their head, they have pretty poor depth perception, and that can be an effective design. You can also build exclusion fencing out of more temporary materials. Joe and Kate of Mighty Soil Farm, our incubator farmers just down the hill, have a design that they built out of electrified tape. It's more temporary materials. They put it up every spring, take it down every fall, but it's been very effective for excluding deer for them as well. Another design would be a slanted fence that actually projects out at an angle, and that provides, similar to the three-dimensional fence, some physical barrier, some exclusion, and also that sort of psychological barrier of the deer having difficulty navigating the depth of that run and jump. This project is something that will be ongoing. You can see we've set most of the corners. We're bracing the corners now and beginning to run the line posts. But we will continue to bring you updates throughout the summer as we build this fence and put up the wire, and so you can see kind of what the final product is and how we manage it. A couple other notes on the design. The spacing that we have here is a 15-foot spacing on our line posts, and you can see we've got 6-inch top rounds for the corners, but we've used 4x4s on the line posts. They don't have to be quite as heavily built. They're not taking as much force or weight or tension. And also we could source the 4x4s with the MCA treatment locally, whereas we had to go downstate to a specialty supplier to get the MCA treated round posts for the corners.
That's what's up at Uprec. Hope to see you again next time.
Well, I'm so glad I'm living in the old UP.